Day 60. It's a little warmer today, mid-30s. It feels like 60 the way how cold it's been in the morning. Boy, it's March 1st. Day 60. What? So cool. This is a kind of a full circle moment for me. I'm going to share probably some personal stuff today as I reflect about Elijah, who arrives on the scene, and in a very small way too. It's just like, oh, Elijah, he's a prophet. He comes and God sends him by himself out into the wilderness. Well, he delivers a prophecy first, and then he's kind of on the run. He has to go hide because, he had to deliver a tough message. And God sends him to be by a brook and says, don't worry, I'll make sure you're fed by a raven. And so he camps out in the wilderness by himself. And kind of seems strange. It's like, and we're told too that there's going to be a famine or a drought in the land that's going to cause a famine for 3 years. And so he's probably like, well, I don't know how long I'm going to be here, but I'm going to go. And then God continues to send him to a widow's house to get food, to get fed. And the widow is, who also has a young son, is like, I can't help you. I only have this much. As a matter of fact, I have so little. When we eat this last bit that I have enough just to make a little bit of bread, my son and I are just we're gonna have to die and starve to death after this. And he says, don't worry, you'll be taken care of. Trust me, the Lord says so. Feed me and just have faith and do it. And she does. And then God keeps replenishing this little bit of flour and oil, and they're fed. The boy does get sick and apparently dies, but Elijah goes before the Lord and prays. He's like, I can't. And of course the woman is like, you're supposed to be a man of God. What the heck? What have you done to me? My son's died anyway. And he goes before the Lord and says, oh, please don't let this young boy die. They have served me. He really deserves to live. And just prays literally over him, kind of lays over him. 3 times he says, he kind of hovers over him. And the boy comes back to life. He's revived. Whew, that's good. And then Elijah is sent off to a showdown. This is epic, drama, a showdown with the people, and says, hey, let's have a contest. Your gods against my God, the only God. Let's put him to the test. And they devise this test of burning altars. Well, not burning altars, but building altars, putting sacrifices on them, and letting God, their gods versus his God, light the fire. Whosever altar catches on fire and burns, those are the gods that should be worshipped. And then before all of this happens, he even gives them a challenge, hey, you double-minded people, why don't you pick a side? Stop worshiping all the gods. Pick one. If you really believe in your gods, go all in, believe in them. If you want to believe in the God of Israel, go all in with that. But stop with this nonsense. And just kind of calls them out. Have you ever been called out? But he stays the course. He does all of these things. That's the title of today. Even, in the weird directions he sent and things to do, he stays the course. Versus yesterday's examples of people all veering off all over the place. He stays the course. Even when it seems weird, even when it doesn't make sense, even when he's alone by himself, by a brook, to doing this big thing. And it was all like in preparation, like he needed to probably go through these small tests of God, or God proving himself faithful, so that Elijah would then have the courage and the confidence to go and do the big thing. So that was just such a reassuring message for me personally. And anyway, of course, like, I didn't finish the story. So God does light his altar on fire. And even during this, typical guy, he is hazing. So there's I think they said 400 priests or 450 priests of Baal, and then there are 300, something like that, of Asherah. Anyway, there's like, or maybe it was a total of 800 against one priest. But he's so confident, because he knows God has like showed up and showed out for him in the small things, in the wilderness, in the preparing, in staying the course. So he's like, okay, God's got this. God's got me. God's got these people, this whole situation. I'm just the messenger. Or I'm just I'm just playing my part in this role. Hey, good morning. Good morning, Melissa. And so he's like taunting them during this time. They build their altar with all their priests. They're doing all these crazy things. They're cutting themselves. They're, hooting and hollering and dancing and doing everything they can to get their gods, plural gods, to light their altar on fire. Doesn't happen. He bides his time. He tells people that are helping him, it seems like it's just a few, hey, not only is my God going to light this altar on fire, but I'll show you how awesome he is. I'm going to drench this wood in water and let it soak here in water. Like if you've ever tried to light wet wood. And so he digs a trench around the altar he's built that will hold 3 gallons of water. And that's how much, they go and get all the water. They pour it over the altar. So it's wet wood. And God, of course, when the time comes, he says, all right, God, it's your time. It's your time. It's showtime. Showdown at the OK Corral. And, of course, he, boom, lights it on fire, burns it all up, even, it says, licks up the water in the trenches. So, all the priests, these 800 priests of the false god, get put to death. And then I think we're going to see that he's on the run again. But how does that relate to me personally? Well, and it's not literally, of course, but I was really identifying with Elijah in that time by the brook, camping, just nibbling on some food, enough to keep you going. And in my own journey of wanting to make change and hearing that small whisper and that double-minded calling on my heart, like, come on, Felicia, you can do better than this. And that I started to go into that direction of learning, really being honest with myself about some of my own habits and what was getting in my way. And I was kind of just lurking at the edge there of preparing my heart, learning to be honest with myself, be patient, staying the course though. I have stayed the course, even though it's been very slow and sometimes very frustrating. And in my humanness, I'm like, I want to be, a size 6 with a 6-pack. It's some really, we want all the things that we see that seemingly that other people have. But I have to remind myself too, that just like Elijah probably could have been intimidated or seeing, these people having all the accolades and 400 priests against one, his path and staying his course was the right one for him and for God, and not to get caught in the comparison trap. And he just stayed the course, just doing the little bit. And it's in those little bits, seemingly little bits of the drought and the famine, when you're like, what am I even doing here? Like, what is happening? But you just keep faithfully, going in the direction and where God sends you. And I feel like today is my 2-year anniversary of when I found a wonderful community that I now coach for, called SoberSis, where, we help thousands and thousands and thousands of women who are, maybe drinking a couple of extra glasses of wine a night, half a glass. Maybe they're drinking a little bit more on the weekends, and they only feel good on Wednesday and Thursday, maybe, if they're lucky. And then they go through it all again, caught in the detox cycle. And women especially, and us in middle age, like our bodies just can't keep up with the boys that way anymore. But we're not getting that message out and support out in the big world. It's glamorized, it's encouraged. Big alcohol has put a ton of money into making women believe that this is a health food. We even need wine when we go to paint a picture and to do yoga. What? So it's a hard thing. And for me to call it what it is, not only for myself, but now, even right now, is like, it's a little scary. There might be people out there, this whole crowd of people going, you're crazy. Like, we're fine. It's not a problem. Just because it's a problem for you. No, it's not y'all, it's an addictive substance. Period. End of story. It's not a people problem. And I love AA, but we have a lot of new science out there, and there's a whole understanding now of a spectrum of alcohol use, and our brains are very powerful. It's not a disease. It's an addictive substance combined with a habit. And you are not broken if you find yourself really, at wine o'clock going, okay, it's time for wine. It's time for wine. And it's relaxing. You enjoy it. Like, I get it. All the things. But then in the morning, you're like, why did I do that? And I'm still doing it in other areas. Don't think I've got this all figured out. I enjoyed a bite of ice cream and a piece of pie last night. And about 3 or 4 in the morning, I got that sugar hot flash. You think those 3 a.m. wake-up calls and hot flashes at this, ladies, I'm speaking to us right now in middle age, you think you're waking up in the middle of the night with a hot flash and it's just menopause? And if you consume any kind of alcohol on a regular basis, I invite you to take a break and see if those hot flashes, the just normal menopause, doesn't subside greatly, if altogether go away for you. I know, this is tough stuff to hear. Or if you know anybody that they're just not happy, they've put on a few extra pounds. Anyway, it is possible. I don't even want the stuff anymore. My husband still thinks he enjoys it. Sorry, honey, if you're listening. Or maybe he does. I don't know. I watched the effects afterwards, and it's a tough one to let go. But I can't even stand the smell when the wine glass or the whatever fancy bourbon drink he's having. So, no judgment here. Please also hear that in my voice. Maybe you'll be curious like I was. So back to my original story. I kind of lurked on the edges of some different groups. and just started getting curious. I started nibbling, getting fed just a little bit here and there by lurking. But there was a lot going on the inside with getting curious. And I kept stepping out, and God kept kind of showing up and reaffirming and doing more when I would start to really take breaks. And then when he asked me to do the big thing, and I knew what I really wanted for my life was to see what was possible if I gave it up completely for a long time. And just wanted to see what all the hubbub was about. All these crazy people talking about how great life was. You know, and I was like, but it's not that bad. My life's pretty good. Like, how much better can it get? Ooh, let me tell you, they were all right. All right. And I still enjoy a glass of red wine every now and then, or even white wine. Do you know they make it alcohol-free now? And there's a lot, because the market is growing and so many people are getting curious and realizing that I can be sober for the health of it, that you can still have some really tasty beverages. You're not giving up anything. You're not, except, you know, headaches and low energy and extra calories that just rob you of your agency and living life fully, or rob enough of your agency that you're not showing up fully in life. Because that's just the nature of alcohol. It's just the nature of the beast. I don't have a moral problem with it. It was when I learned the science. That's when my brain was like, what? I didn't know I was doing that to myself. I didn't know how bad it was. And the alcohol industry doesn't want you to know. Kind of like big tobacco back then. Back in the day, people actually thought it was healthy for us. And we've got enough doctors out there that are even encouraging and saying, hey, you just need to relax, have a glass of wine with dinner at night, or it's healthy, and they're drinking themselves. Like, we've got a long way to go to wake people up, literally. Hey guys, I see we've got a few, March 1st. So anyway, I've been alcohol-free for 2.5 years now, almost, but really started peeling back a lot of my layers and going deeper with life skills. Once you remove the alcohol, that doesn't just fix everything. You've got to get underneath the hood and kind of see what else was going on and where else why were you reaching for relaxing and taking the edge off, and what skills don't you have to deal with life on life's terms that you need to take the edge off. That, my friends, is what I'm celebrating 2 years of doing. And I'm just at the beginning. There's no figuring this out, as we're learning from the Bible. We might get it for like 2 steps. You know, it's like the human race in general with God. It's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but it's all about progress over perfection. So I've got the 2-step going the right way now. Before, when I was doing things my way only, I was constantly taking 2 steps back, 1 step forward, and then wondering why I was losing ground. Now, I've got more of a rhythm of 2 steps forward, maybe 1 step back. Maybe I can even do 5 steps forward and only 1 step back. Doing the 2-step here with you. And I'm really trying to help and encourage others to do the same thing. And now even the Bible and God, you know, going directly to the creator of it all. Hello, why would I? Now I'm like, why did I spend so much time? But, you know, again, that's another example of nibbling at the brook, getting fed by other people, still getting a lot of benefit out of it. But now I'm ready for the show. I'm ready for the showdown. You know what I mean? Hoedown. Showdown. Getting silly now. All right, this has been a long one, I think. Thanks for staying with me, staying the course with me today as I celebrate and reflect even on a little bit of what God has done, and not downplaying my role in it. It was my willingness, my staying the course, even when it's hard. And I think we're going to see some of that, like Elijah is going to have some moments where he's like, oh, just can't. I can't anymore. And I have days like that too. And then I go to sleep and I practice some self-care. I know where I'm getting off track now. I don't need a Band-Aid like red wine or anything like that, because I know that that's just, yeah, that might make me feel good. Just like the pie did last night for a few minutes. It was so good, so satisfying. But, probably what I needed to do last night was go to bed an hour earlier. But again, progress over perfection. And there's nothing wrong with pie and ice cream either. I'm just saying. And I did keep my calories in check yesterday because I knew I wanted to have that treat. So we got to have some joy in there too, and some joy, but if you've gotten off track with anything in your life and you feel like it's controlling you, that's what we can put a pause button on and start to get honest with ourselves and take a look at. And God may be trying to tell you something, or wherever your belief system is. I just speak authentically for where I am and what my beliefs are. And we can do something about that. I have a great coaching system. This is not a sales pitch, called Own It for Good, where we get in there. We get in there and we identify what those pain points are. Because your pain point might not be alcohol. It might be sugar. It might be salt. It might be shopping, money. If you've got a lot of clothes hanging in your closet with price tags still on it, we can talk. All right, y'all. Rise and shine. March has started. March forward. Stay the course. Ooh, that's a good one. Bye.